The epic finale of Agatha All Along, which, spoiler alert, loved it.
I feel like this could also be Marvel Studios planting the seeds for Kingpin.
Rio may have gotten to sort of balance the scales, but now Tommy's out there.
What is poppin', Palaxy? Today on the Bounty Board, we talk all about the season finale for Agatha All Along. So you already know what to do. Kick up that warp drive and let's punch this thing. Welcome back to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast, everybody. My name is MT, and I'm here today with two of my wonderful, amazing pals, Whitney and Brett. What's going on, gang?
Hi, I'm dressed as Agatha's corpse today. That's who I am. That's my costume.
Oh my God.
Or Phoebe Bridgers if she was doing a Midsummer. One of those two. Either of those is what I'm dressed as today. Before we dive into talking about the epic finale of Agatha All Along, which I loved, spoiler alert, loved it. I just have to go over really quick housekeeping thing. So our dear friend, Thomas Bechtold, is on the journey of a lifetime right now. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, but he is taking a very brief break from the Palaxy. And it is because he was called to his home planet due to an intergalactic mafia heist. And it's up to him to save everyone. I don't want you guys to worry about him. He's going to come back victorious. Obviously, he's Tommy Bechtold. But instead of asking, where the heck is Tommy in the comments? Leave him some love. Wish him some luck on his space journey.
Yes.
And yeah.
Good luck, Tommy.
I mean,
luck,
this
Tommy.
isn't his first intergalactic mafia heist, so I am less worried than the first time.
Oh, way less worried.
That's what
He's
you
a
call
pro. Yeah, that's why they called him, because he has experience in this field. He's a very important person in this field. So Tommy will be back. He'll be back right after Thanksgiving. So don't worry, pals. He's just kicking creatures' asses in space.
Hey, we miss you, Tommy. But yes, in the meantime, we have this Agatha All Along finale, episodes 8 and 9. At the same time, I really think that was a great idea for Marvel to do that.
Oh, I would have killed myself if they stopped after Agatha went boo. I would have dropped dead if I had to wait a whole week for that. I'm so happy that they gave us both episodes. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, like the episode 9 was more like an epilogue for the whole series. It's like, all right, here's how we wrap things up, and here's how what's going to happen in the future for Billy. But yeah, before we get into all that, let's talk about, the episode starts with, obviously the tragic death of Lilia Calderu is affecting everyone.
R.I.P.
Especially Jennifer Kale. I feel like her journey, her transformation very much culminates in this episode, because she starts off this super self-centered fraud of merchants to now she wants to protect Agatha and Billy, even though Agatha killed one of her homies. She still wants to protect Agatha despite that. And she really needs to go on this journey to become the hero that she is in the comic books, which is super cool to see.
Absolutely.
I love those moments where you see her grieving over Lilia, because she really didn't give a damn about Lilia. It's she pushed Lilia in the first challenge.
Oh yeah, she pushed her out of the way to climb into an oven, which I don't know. I would not be pushing people out of the way to climb into an oven. That's a very low on my priority list place to play hide and seek.
While we're talking about Jen, I talked a little bit with Tommy and Whitney last week about the future of Jen in the MCU. Now that we've sort of seen where Jen ends up by the end of these episodes, she's going to be leading the Midnight Suns, right? Or at least an integral part. Is that what you're feeling, MT?
I feel like there's a big chance that she could be part of the team in a big way, because she has been part of the Midnight Suns in the comic books. So it would be cool to see her play a big role. But then again, I don't know if her whole aesthetic matches the Midnight Suns whole she has this beautiful pink magic. Wow, this is so nice. Please heal a forest. I can't see you hanging out with Ghost Rider and all these rough and tough. It's just at least update your costume. Get some I don't know, get some mascara on or something. I don't know. Look as emo as everybody else.
Yeah, mascara is gonna fix everything. That's a lie that all women tell themselves. By the way, I just put on a little mascara, I'll be fine.
I will say, interestingly, obviously this is reading really, really, really into things that might not be there. But rewatching Agatha today, as of recording, the first thing that shows up when you click the Marvel banner on Disney Plus is actually Ghost Rider. And I think that's super fascinating, especially since I believe Jen has relationships with Ghost Rider in the comics. He's her cousin or something like that, is I think what I read.
I forget the exact link, but I think they're cousins or something like that.
Could mean nothing, but I think that I'm like, ooh.
I just want to see Jen and Ghost Rider in a The Bear situation where they call each other cousin. You good, cousin? You good? And it's all about spaghetti. They open a restaurant together. It's very competitive, very nice.
Obviously, Agatha confronts Death at the beginning of this episode and is just like, hey, what are you doing here? And Death's like, hey, I can't believe you've been hiding this like super amazing reality changing child from me. I guess Agatha makes this like deal with Death to sort of like try to get Billy to willingly give himself up to Death, because for some reason Death can't take Billy because he's always going to just reincarnate himself at the moment of his physical body death. So I guess that sort of confirms that like he's kind of immortal in a weird like semi-immortal in a weird way.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
It is. I wish I could just like reincarnate into a cooler, hotter body every time. Are you kidding? I want to come back in the next life as Catherine motherfucking Hahn.
Yeah.
Let me do it. Let me die kissing Aubrey Plaza and then come back to life as Catherine Hahn.
Not a bad way to go. Out of all, Agatha did not deserve that good ending for her life. I'm just saying, like, God, getting to kiss.
It was a good way to die.
What a lucky duck.
We would all be so lucky.
How do you guys feel about knowing that Billy's like functionally immortal? Do you feel like that kind of like ruins his character a little bit? Like for like Young Avengers and all that stuff? Because like the stakes aren't really as there, or is it just the same?
Some villain will find a way to kill him. All heroes seem unkillable until they meet their greatest foe. So I think some asshole MCU villain will figure out a way to try to kill him. And then he'll survive because he's Wiccan and he's the son of the Scarlet Witch. And you can't kill him. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't think the stakes change really, because there's two things going on with that like kind of make it a little messy to be like, well, he's immortal. One, he has to find a body. So we can kind of assume in any future scenario that if he does get killed, he has a respawn timer, you know?
Right.
That's true.
So
yeah.
he, like, if it does, there are stakes. If he gets offed, he can't immediately jump back into the battle and be like, hey, I'm still here. Fuck you.
I'm right here.
I've just got a different face on. The other thing is, it seems like he is struggling with like the weight of like taking these bodies.
Right.
And we see it with him when he summons Tommy into that boy's body. And we see it kind of with himself dealing with taking over Billy Kaplan's body. He feels that he's guilty in sort of stealing this life in this body. And I think that's probably going to play a role in how he sort of measures his abilities going forward.
True.
That part is very interesting to me for two reasons. One, because I thought it was very funny that while he was stealing this other body for his twin brother, I love that he made sure to clarify with absolute certainty that this kid was being bullied, that he had no parents and no one to love him. So like, it's fine. It's fine. This kid had a bad life anyways. And now he gets to
at all.
He didn't matter at all. And now he just gets to wake up and be a magician. That's great news. Good for him. Good for that kid.
Well, he won't be a magician. He'll just be really fast.
Really fast.
Yeah, a really fast boy with his magician brother.
Mhm.
Sorry.
No one can catch him to drown him ever again.
Now he can swim real fast. He can't get me.
Oh shit, he's gonna just turn into Michael Phelps
yeah.
in that swimming
It
pool.
actually
He's
is
gonna-
Michael Phelps.
He is Michael Phelps. He comes, oh my God. Oh
It's
my
the
God.
origin
What if
story.
that's the tragic origin story of Michael Phelps is that he's actually Tommy Maximoff and he just swim real fast.
The next Disney Plus show is Billy and Agatha go to the Olympics.
Yeah. Billy and Agatha take home the gold.
Each ring's a different trial.
Disney Channel original movie ass title if I've ever heard one.
I guess speaking of Tommy, like knowing that like he has no family, I feel like that very much opens up the doors for his eventual capture by some sort of, government entity. Because like we know in his first appearance in Young Avengers number 10 and 11, I forget what year, the Young Avengers basically find him in this facility where like he's getting experimented on and like, poked and prodded because he accidentally vaporized his high school with his powers, which is like,
Oh,
they don't really get into that. I'm like, that's kind
no.
of a big deal, but like, they kind of just like, all right, he vaporizes high school. Now he's captured. Marvel Studios seems to be, very much trying to be as close to the comics as possible in their own way. I feel like we're probably going to see him get captured by Sword or like, or Damage Control, but probably Sword because like Sword just lost White Vision and like they really want a weapon of their own. So like they might just kidnap Tommy and be like, hey, you got the super speed. Let's try to figure out how that works. And then the Young Avengers will be like, no, we're going to get you. And you're going to join our team. And like, so I think
we'll rescue you. Don't worry, buddy.
So I personally think we're probably going to see Tommy again in the actual Young Avengers project, but he also could appear in Vision Quest because like that's another spin-off of WandaVision and like feel like that's sort of their narrative. But who knows? Who knows?
He could vaporize those bullies.
No, I know. He could vaporize those fucking bullies when he gets out of the pool. Exactly. But that was the other thing that I was thinking about. This poor kid is going to wake up really fast in a new body, but there is no one around to even like remotely help him figure it out. And like at the very very least, William Kaplan was born in Eastview next to Westview. So technically after this happened to Billy, at least he was in a town that had very recently been affected by the Scarlet Witch's magic. So at the very least, he could like explore that and knew about it and could research it and became his own little witch boy. This poor Tommy kid sounds like he's just dying in a swimming pool in bumfuck nowhere with shitty parents who don't give a fuck about him. And all of a sudden he's going to wake up and just be really fast. He's going to be like, what the fucking shit is happening to me? And he's alone until Billy and Agatha go find him. So I feel bad for Tommy. I do think it's really plausible that he could get caught or picked up in the meantime, because it's going to be this scared kid who does probably accidentally fucking vaporize those bullies right out of the swimming pool.
Vaporizes the whole swimming pool. It's all just...
Yeah. Vaping kills, bro.
That's very much in his power set, because like apparently like if he touches something fast enough with his body, he can mess up the molecules of that object just enough to make that object explode.
Very first episode of The Boys Coded.
So these witches are going along this green part of the Witches Road, and they eventually make their way back to their shoes at the beginning of the Witches Road. It's like, oh man, like we did another like a whole loop around the whole damn road, and now we're back here. And so Agatha's getting frustrated, and Billy gets frustrated. He's like, what the heck's going on? And so he defies the road by putting on his shoes. And then as soon as he does that, they're immediately brought underground to a morgue.
There's no place like home.
Exactly. Like basically designed after Agatha's basement in a weird way.
What I thought was really interesting about the shoes scene was that it was yet another case of Billy kickstarting the trial, but this time it was because he said, great, we don't have a green witch. We're back to square one. And then they magically pop to like literally square one, like the beginning of the road again. And obviously it takes him being like, fuck this, I'm putting my shoes on for the morgue part to start. So I thought that was very clever that they keep like hiding it in very subtle ways that he starts every trial. You kind of have to like think about it for a sec, or at least I do. Maybe I'm dumb. But no. I like it. I think it's very cool that they kept messing with us with these trials.
I really like the twist that it was Billy all along. It was like this was his whole...
Billy all along.
I love that it was both Billy and Agatha all along.
Yeah.
They're both the man behind the curtain. It's really cool. It is very cool. Very cool trick they pulled off.
And a definite shout out to Brett, because that was his theory. I think... last episode or the episode before, Brett was like, he was like, based on all of like the posters in Billy's room, I think that he's the creator of the road. And he was right.
Hey,
what a smart Brett.
What
a smart little Brett.
I was just regurgitating what the internet was saying. I'm not going to take any credit for
Nailing a theory feels good, God
but
damn
I believe those people were right, and turns out they were. So
just bask in it, bro. Just bask in it for a second. You got something right. It's rare.
High Priestess.
Yeah. High Priestess.
But speaking of High Priestess, Jennifer Kale wakes up in this morgue and she's like, hey, I want to protect you guys no matter what, because like I just lost all these witches and I'm not going to lose anybody else. And then she quickly finds out that it was Agatha herself who bound her in the 1920s in Boston a long ass time ago.
What a bitch.
What a major bitch.
What a bitch.
What a major bitch.
What a bitch. That is so rude. That is so mean.
This was one of the things that it didn't like fully work for me. I kind of feel like it was a little too convenient from like a storytelling perspective. I'm glad that they were able to wrap up Jen's story and return her powers.
Right.
But I don't know. It just kind of felt like something that was like, oh, this is really convenient that the way that I can unbound my powers is with this person who's physically here.
I would have loved if Agatha revealed that she lied about it. She was like, oh no, it really wasn't me. You just had to like release that.
You just had to
power.
believe in yourself. Yeah, that would be great. If she was actually like, psych, it wasn't me. I just wanted you to fucking figure it out for yourself.
Right. Like that would have been a lot more satisfying to me because I totally agree. It's just it feels very convenient and like out of left field.
Where it's just like, oh shit, we got to wrap up this character's storyline. How do we do that in one scene instead of telling a story? Because yeah, she thought it was that chef guy. We still don't know what the fuck that chef guy was doing. You don't? He was in the kitchen and he had knives. I thought he was a chef.
They said he was a doctor.
I thought she did say that he was a doctor, but why? The doctor doesn't belong in the kitchen.
We thought he was a doctor of sandwiches.
Yeah, he's Dr. Sandwich. Paging Dr. Sandwich.
Oh my God, it's actual Dr. Pepper. He's here.
Dr. Pepper, we found him. It was Dr. Pepper all along.
He did kind of look like a chef. Like I could totally see him on like Food Network.
I thought he was
something.
A chef. I guess that old timey doctors just look like chefs. I don't know.
But yeah, as soon as Jennifer gets her powers back, she disappears because apparently she wins the road.
Such beautiful acting
on
Sashir Zamata's part.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like the facial expressions and the little sounds and the tears and the smile and everything that she makes when she's going through, just like very quickly passing through, I'm fucking angry at Agatha. Fuck Agatha. I fucking hate this. To, oh my God, why did I have to suffer with this for so long? Why did I suffer? Okay, I'm not suffering anymore. Okay, actually, this is the best fucking possible thing. And then she's happy and laughing about it. And it's like you can see every single one of those emotions on her face. Her acting is just fucking incredible. I loved that scene. I thought that was like one of the most beautiful scenes in the entire show, was just watching Jen get her powers back.
Oh yeah, like the way that she acted, you could like sort of feel like a piece of her own heart was being unlocked. It's just like, oh my God, like I'm remembering a piece of myself that I've lost like a long time ago. And like I finally feel like me for the first time in a century.
Yeah.
And like that was super beautiful. I like that moment too. Jen disappeared when she got what she needed out of the road, but like Alice didn't immediately disappear after she got her family curse removed. That's how this episode began, with Alice.
Yeah,
with
Alice.
With Alice. Oh my God, that moment was super haunting. And like, it was just
her corpse is too buff for a corpse, though. I'm sorry. Her corpse has like incredible abs. And I'm just like, did you take the substance, girl? Like, what is this? It literally looked like Brett's Venom costume was on her. Like, that's what it looked like. It was crazy. I was like, damn, 6-pack, even in death. Couldn't be me.
Rio does say you technically did die protecting other people, which is sort of what you really wanted. You wanted to be like a true protection witch. It was super haunting and super sad to see her die right after she like has this new hope for her life, like open up and be like, oh my God, like my future's so bright. Like I can do anything now that like we don't have this curse on me. And like, it's just like a reminder that like, you know, life is short, man. And like death comes at any time. And like, it doesn't really matter what your future plans are. And like, that's just so like, it gave me like a little bit of an existential crisis. I was like, oh my God, like this is like, this is real. It's like, this is so real. Like there is no like everyone lives happily ever after with a bow here. It's just like, she's dead. She's
just dead. And that just fucking happens sometimes.
Exactly. It's just like, damn, that sucks.
That was the other like most heartbreaking part of this episode, was also when Agatha tells Billy after he disappears from the room, like, sometimes boys just die.
Oh my God,
and
that was so sad.
Like the fact that we had to like learn that lesson twice in this series through Alice and through Nikki, both of them, you know, getting cut off in like the prime of their life. Like at least Lilia, her death was really satisfying because she came full circle as a character. She did find her peace. She did wake up again in her younger body in whatever afterlife she's in. And it's because she can, you know, time is all relative. She can slide through time. And, you know, whether or not she's like actually like resurrected somewhere, I don't think she is. I think she's in a dead world. We still see her get to start over and find that closure. With Alice and Nicholas, sometimes there is no closure with death. Sometimes somebody that you really fucking love just dies. And that was also the message of WandaVision. It is definitely the message of Agatha. I think that both of these shows deal with grief in very different but very beautiful ways. We saw Wanda with her grief lose her mind with sadness. And then we see Agatha channel all of her anger and her evilness at killing other witches because that's the only way that she's going to survive. That was the only way that she could make sure that her son would survive. So they, they practice grief in these very different ways, but I think that the show examines what those phases of anger and sadness really look like.
Yeah. So I think, to go back to Alice real quick, I'm glad that they did that scene, because I think a lot of people sort of had that complaint that was like, oh, Alice's story just kind of ends. And I think like by actually giving us a scene that was like, oh, you had your purpose fulfilled and life is short. I think that went a long way to like appease some of the like problems that people had with her death in particular. But with that scene where Agatha is completing her trial and she pulls out the dandelion seed and waters it with her own tears and plants it, it's probably, I think it's the best scene in the entire series. Obviously, the Lilia episode is fantastic, but to me, that was the series. That was... You can take your grief and you can make something new and positive out of it. You can plant new life. From death comes rebirth.
And like, that's essentially what, I found that very symbolic to her relationship with Billy. Nikki laid the seeds for Agatha to be kind to Billy and like, sort of like, build a new plant as it would be with Billy. And like, even though like, yeah, this is not my son, this is just something new. Not recycling, but like, bringing new life out of a bad situation type of a vibe. So Agatha does do that, and she gets through the last trial, and she goes face to face with death in her backyard. It's her backyard, but like, it's also the witch's road, because like the neighbors can't see them.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
it's the set of Halloween Town is what I kept saying.
Yeah. I was like, now they're back on the set of Halloween Town.
Where is Calabar?
That's what Rio was given big Mayor of Halloween Town vibes.
Big Mayor vibes, baby. We love to see it.
Oh my God.
Mayor Death.
I want Halloween Town to be canon to the MCU somehow. That would be so fun. I would love that. Agatha and Rio, they get into a big fight. But then, obviously, here comes Billy back again in his whole Wiccan fit. He was like, what? I'm going to go to a party city. I'm going to find me a nice little Wiccan outfit. Not party city.
Let me just tear open my knee. Adds a little bit so that I'm hip. I have ripped jeans. I'm Wiccan. I'm a cool teen. I happened to find fabric that had exactly my mother's cloak and part of my father's cloak on either side of it. Don't know how I found it, but I did. He manifested it.
So does that mean that he's just naked in real life because he manifested his outfit? He's not really wearing an outfit.
Illusion.
He's
a
reality
bender. He's not an illusionist. He's a reality bender. Yeah.
I think he's pantsless, and none of us know. We would never know. We would have no idea. He's controlling our mind to believe that he has pants on, and he's full butt out. That's the second butt out in Agatha we'd get.
That would be hilarious.
Billy butt, Agatha butt. We're just getting butts.
Kevin Feige should write that into the script and be like, yeah, Billy's always naked, but like he's
technically secretly always naked, and the clothes are a projection of his reality. In his world, he's wearing pants.
Yeah, so Billy comes and he saves Agatha from getting immediately killed by death, right then anyway. And he gives Agatha a ton of his powers and trusts her to not slurp them all out. Even after all that, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I would never do that.
No,
never.
Just absolutely fucking not. I would never trust her in a million billion years.
Yeah, no, especially after Alice. No.
Do we feel like the reason why he was able to do it is just because he's got a bigger battery tank? That's like the only reason like he even considered it, was like, oh, I can like last long enough for Agatha to be like, oh, you know what? I got my fill, and I'll let you go.
How does he know his own battery life? Did he plug himself into the Wiccan charger overnight? How would he know?
I mean, like, I do have like a weird, possibly scientific answer to that, but like, I try not to talk about the Marvel trigger
You gonna
What
theory?
is
trigger
it?
theory
Tell
us?
me.
Trigger theory
Yes.
us. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go
Trigger
ahead.
theory.
I'll be
Yes.
as fast as possible. Okay, so in Avengers 1, we learned that the Tesseract is something called dark energy. And like, it's this scientific concept that we're like, basically, right now, dark energy is all around us. Like, it's just everywhere. It makes up most of the universe. That's why it's the space stone, because like it just makes up most of space. And so because that shit all around us at all times, Billy could technically just source that from the air and just like bring it back to his own body, so long as Agatha did not kill him. So Agatha would have to like stop just shy of like him dying, that he could just like basically recharge himself. It's essentially like Wenwu uses the 10 rings. Like when you like look up at a close up of the 10 rings, he basically like sources the blue from around the rings, and it makes the rings crack. And so like it's basically that shit.
That's sick.
I
I believe it.
don't know. That's just my headcanon. I'm like, yeah, he probably
No,
just like
that totally
stuck to
makes
It works.
sense. It worked. And it makes sense why Wanda didn't have that, because she's not, pulling from dark energy.
Right.
She's pulling from chaos.
Right.
So it would make sense that a chaos battery would not charge as quickly. It's like it's the difference between somebody who closes all the apps on their iPhone and a person who doesn't, where like the chaos phone does not charge as fast with like 900 apps running at the same time.
But of course, like Death is like, you know what? Like, I'm not leaving. You can't beat me because I'm a cosmic entity. Like, I'm the order of all things. So like one of you have to die in a very Soul Stone-esque, like, choose who's gonna die, one of you can live. And so Agatha and Billy fight a little bit. Like, Agatha's like, it should be me, and Billy's like, no, it shouldn't be you, but it should be you at the same time. And so Agatha eventually decides to, sacrifice her life for Billy, even though she said she didn't. But like, Agatha's just being like that. And she dies in a very beautiful way. She kisses Rio, which is like, the ultimate gift. And
ultimate way to die.
What we all been waiting for.
In her face while they're kissing, you can see Agatha siphoning some of Death's powers to kill herself because her veins start turning black.
I don't think
and
that's her
so do
siphoning.
Rio's.
I think that's what happens when you kiss Death.
Yeah, probably. But no, because I don't think so. I think that was her siphoning, because she and Rio must have made out when they were dating before and she didn't die.
Maybe
so
they had like a little, maybe they did the thing where they had like a little piece of paper between them.
They had like a little,
plastic
to save room for Jesus.
Like a kiss
Absolutely.
condom. Yeah.
A little kiss condom, a little smooch condom. The old Rogue and Gambit trick where she puts her mouth over and kisses it.
So
no,
sad.
I feel like they had to have made out before. How else did they make a fucking baby? They had to have made out. So I think that was Agatha taking some powers.
a little bit.
I think that the way that they ended that episode was really, really beautiful and really touching. It was Agatha hearing Billy in her mind, which was the first time that she ever let any other witch read her mind, which I thought was very interesting that she allowed him to at this moment. And he asks her again if this is how her son died. And she, I think, decided in that moment, I think that she thought about the conversation that she and Rio had earlier, where Rio was like, why do you let people think that that's what happened to Nikki? And she's like, because the truth is too terrible. I think that in that moment, she realizes, no, I can't let one more person think that something really awful happened to my son. What actually happened was he died, and Rio had to take him. She finally accepts that in that moment and is like, no, you're right. This isn't how Nikki died. I'm going to sacrifice myself, and I'm going to finally admit that it wasn't it wasn't the awfulness that everyone has made rumors up about her. But because of that, we still don't know how she got the fucking Darkhold. How did she get the Darkhold? Who gave it to her? Where did she find it?
She went to her local library. Duh. It's just there.
Checked it out. You can just check it out at the library.
It's next to the Twilight books. Duh.
The darkest tomes in all the land.
The darkest tomes.
The forbidden text.
I do wonder how exactly Agatha did get the Darkhold, because I was thinking that at some point we were going to get that book card again from the beginning of the series that showed everyone who signed out the Darkhold. And like I was going to think that like maybe we were going to see like Rio's name or somebody's name before Agatha, like showing us like how she got the book, but like we just never got that.
Jack Schaefer in her sort of end of season interview with Variety did say that they filmed sort of the origins of Nicholas Scratch, the origins of Agatha and Rio's relationship, And I believe the Darkhold was part of that. I am sort of pulling from the top of my mind right now. So this stuff was all written, and they decided that they cut it for flow for this episode, which is really interesting. And I agree. I actually think it's all right, because I do think leaving it as a mystery and as something to come back to in the future is going to be really important, especially since Rio may have gotten Agatha to sort of balance the scales, but now Tommy's out there. So
yeah, now they got another
Rio's
one on the loose.
Rio's gonna come back and be like, "Hey,
that wasn't fair.
You got stuff from me. Stop taking
you got a 2-for-1 special, and that's not fair."
Yeah. So I don't think this is the end of the Rio Agatha Wiccan sort of conflict, and I'm hoping that Jack Schaefer gets to do more with it in the future.
I especially love that in that article, she said that the writers came up with like a really cute storyline where after they met, because Jack Schaefer said that they met over corpses, like Jen suggested in episode 8. And she was saying that they had that all figured out about how they see each other from across like a body strewn battlefield or whatever it may be. And they just immediately lock eyes and fall in love. And Rio is so entranced by this woman who is so evil and is causing so much death and destruction that she falls in love with her. And then the second thing that she said that they wrote is that they had a little storyline where Agatha and Rio lived in a little cottage in the woods together, and they were very domestic. And I want that series. I want to see a whole series. I don't even give a shit if it's boring or not. I just want to see the series 2 lesbians in a cabin. That's all I want to see. I think that would have been great, but I understand why they cut it for time. The way that Jack Schaefer explained it was she was like, yeah, it wouldn't have made sense to have all this buildup be about Nikki and then do the Nikki thing and then flash back even further to the Rio thing. And then, oh shit, now we have to figure out the Darkhold. I do think I see why she made that decision. I wish that we got the Agatha Rio backstory. Obviously, that would have been very cool. But this does leave it open for the possibility of them coming back to this again. And I would love to see a second go around of all of these characters together because they were all really cool. Mm-hmm. They all had great chemistry. I liked them.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like Marvel should give Jack Schaefer access to the animated team for What If and be like, hey, if you want to do a little prequel thing for Agatha and Rio, just do that with this team. So Agatha is dead now.
Yeah, the episode ends with her dead body under a bunch of flowers in the backyard. She got got by death. They made out to death. God, that's how I want to die so bad. God. I want to die making out.
And my favorite thing that happens after this, right after the green sky opens up to the orange light of the real world.
Back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
And I feel like that was a perfect ending to the Infinity Stone color theme of all these trials. It's all right, we have 5 trials for the 5 sides of this pentagram that they drew at the beginning of the trials. And at the very end, it's all right, now you're back home. And this episode was very much about untethered souls, whether it be Tommy, Jennifer, who gets her soul unbound, and whether it be Agatha, who becomes a ghost.
She's a ghost lady now.
Exactly. A very soul-centric episode, especially with the whole them deciding who dies. It's very Soulstone-esque. That was just my weird observation there.
I love it when you talk about the colors. I'm interested.
Try not to.
I like it.
I know some people don't like it.
I like it. No, it's so fun. I love your theories.
So it sounds like we're about to get into the Nikki stuff, but we've sort of talked about the Billy reveal that he created the Witch's Road. Do we have any final thoughts on that reveal? Because that reveal is really cool.
It was brilliant that they managed to do the whole hex thing, hex reality, whatever you want to call it, again in a sequel to WandaVision. I thought it was brilliant. It was so cool. And it shows that Billy is just as powerful or nearly as powerful as his mother, which is super, super dope. But what about you, Whitney? How do you feel about it?
My only complaint is if all the Witch's Road trials were based on Billy's room, why didn't we get a Rocky Horror Picture Show trial? I want to be greeted on the Witch's Road by a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. Ha ha. I want that and I need it. Give it to me, please.
You don't know. Maybe they're still on the Witch's Road.
We could have gotten Susan Sarandon's perfect tits on the road, and that was just a missed opportunity.
Oh my god.
Huge missed opportunity. Mistake.
Feige.
Big
thumbs
mistake.
down.
Has Susan Sarandon been in the MCU yet?
No, she hasn't. She could have made a cameo as Janet. She's still got the tits. The tits haven't gone anywhere.
Also, it's also funny that like there was a Buffy the Vampire Slayer poster on the wall, and
Yeah.
Joss Whedon directed Avengers 1 and 2.
And then there was a Saw poster on his wall because he also created a horrific, deadly escape room game for people.
So I was joking with Whitney that like Billy's civilian identity, his like job should just be an escape room creator, and he should just run a bunch of escape rooms because he's a natural for it, really.
I mean,
he can make millions. Escape rooms make so much money, dude, and they're kind of expensive. They're like $30 a pop. He could be raking in the Benjamins right now.
And it's even better if like 2 or 3 people in your group don't make it back. So it's like,
oh my god, because then you can bring your coworkers and sacrifice the ones that you hate to Billy Maximoff. That's part of the deal.
It's the fastest way to a promotion. Just go to these.
Fastest way.
Now we're into episode 9, the finale, where we go back in time to the year 1750. Agatha is in her maiden phase, about to become a mother because the episode's called Maiden Mother Crone. But then, oops, baby dies before baby born. And you know, here comes the Green Witch, Death, and she's like, "Hey, gotta take your baby," and she's like, "I need more time." And you know, since she's the Green Witch, she's like, "I can give you more time because that's the time stone." And so and so like she gives Agatha more time with her kid, and it's super nice because like we're seeing Agatha being, you know, gentle and kind, even though she is a murderer and she does teach her kid to essentially bait people to murder. She cares for someone in her for the first time in her life that isn't Death. It's someone that she created from scratch, which is why she calls her Nicholas Scratch, which is a very nice little origin for his name.
So I was on the old Twitter.com the other day, and I saw a tweet from Ellie Sapphic, or Eli Sapphic, not sure how they pronounce their name, but they are from Indonesia, and they said, "In my country, the line 'you were made from scratch' translated to," and I'm so sorry if I butcher the pronunciation, "kamu terbuat dari alam," which literally means you were made from nature. So yeah, Rio, the original Green Witch, you are the father.
Ooh.
So I thought that was very, very interesting. Scratch just translates to "you are made of nature." And it's a confirmation that Agatha really did make this kid from scratch, wasn't made the old-fashioned way with a P and a V. No, she did it with her own V, all by herself, all by her lonesome.
Real acolyte energy.
Yeah, real big acolyte energy. Real big covens of witches spawning twins energy. I thought that it was definitely a huge sign that Rio was the father. Jack Schaefer said in that Variety article that she doesn't have like an idea in her mind of who the father was. She was like, I just didn't even go there with who like the father of Agatha's baby is. She said that she wanted to leave it up for interpretation. I personally interpret it that it was Rio because there's so many signs and clues that point to it being Rio. I think that part of the little backstory that we may have gotten, maybe this would have been a part of it, who knows? Agatha and Rio were together. Agatha got pregnant because they made this baby together from scratch. And I think that Rio told her that their baby was going to die. And I think that Agatha fled into the woods and left their little cottage together because she didn't want Death to find her. And that's why she was running through the woods when we first saw her. And I think that she was trying to hide from Rio as long as she possibly could. Rio finds her and she's like, "Oh, fuck, not you, dude. No, not right now." And Rio does agree to give her more time, which Agatha ultimately views as a curse after her son dies, because in that moment and when she's begging her for more time, she's not thinking about how sad she's going to be when he dies. She just wants any amount more time with him. She can't really see that it was a blessing that she had any time with him at all. She's she's not in that place in her grief yet.
I think an additional piece of evidence too is the fact that his hair and her locket does produce this sort of seed at the end during her trial, which if he was made of earth, then it would make sense that he could be regrown as a piece of earth.
Rio Vidal whipped out her greenest and impregnated Agatha Harkness.
Yes.
The
Yes, they have so much camaraderie on me. I mean, camaraderie. Dude, Aubrey Plaza would totally stick her greenest in anyone. I know she would. I know she would. She's that kind of lady.
We're going to need some Rule 34 of the greenest immediately.
No.
But no, I do like this idea of Rio being the father of a child that's doomed to die because her nature is, her death. So it's just like, that'd be such a bummer.
She creates life and then she also has to take it.
It also falls in line with death in the comics because like death kind of doesn't really have like a set gender or a set sex in the Marvel comics.
It's an
just
entity.
Like,
yeah, it's an entity.
Like I really wanted the twist to be that Nicholas Scratch ends up being Mephisto at the very end of this. Like that would have been like such a satisfying like post-credit scene. It's like, I'm back, but I'm also the devil. So like you have me back, but at what cost? Like sort of deal. And like I think that would have been really fun. He's the one who makes up the Witch's Road melody, and like they sort of like, work together to make the song, and it's super nice, and he uses it to kill a bunch of witches, and it's all great and dandy until one day, cough, 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 time for me to go, mama. And he passes away in his sleep.
So something I want to point out here is I've seen a lot of confusion as to like what was really going on with like why Agatha was having him sort of trick these witches, and like was she using the power that she received from them to essentially like feed him and keep him alive. And I think it was something as simple as she was giving Rio essentially sacrifices to keep her busy so that she couldn't come and collect on Nikki.
That's what I also think. I think that she kept killing people to give Rio bodies so that Rio wouldn't need Nikki yet. She wouldn't need him for anything. I really believe this theory because it was the one night that Nikki didn't kill anybody and he died in his sleep that night. And I think that it was because Rio didn't have any bodies to find, and so she easily found them instead.
Also, in that scene, Agatha says, I can't protect you, I can't heal you, I can't divine what will happen to you, which are the three other witch coven powers, essentially, right? We have the divinity witch, we have the potions witch, and we have the protection witch, right? And Agatha, as we know, is a spirit witch, which according to Jack Schaefer in that Variety article, her powers are pretty much solely destruction and death. So the only way that Agatha can protect Nikki with her power is through destruction and death.
And it kind of sucks because there's like that one line when he's asking her why they have to kill people. And he's like, well, couldn't we survive with the other witches? Couldn't we live with them? And Agatha says no. But with what Brett pointed out, it kind of seems like, maybe if she had that coven around her, maybe if she had a protection witch on her side, maybe if she had a healer, maybe if she had a divination witch who could tell her when Nikki was going to die and she could do more to prevent it. If she just found a coven, maybe she could have kept him longer. And I think that that's part of her decision at the end of the day, to keep killing all of these covens and to keep being a covenless witch, because I think that she feels really, really guilty that she didn't take him up on that, and that she didn't listen to her son, and that she did keep killing for Rio because she thought that that was what was best. And sometimes when you're a parent, you think you do think that you know what's best for your kid, but parents don't always know what's best for their kid. And maybe, we don't know, he could have still died anyways. I mean, obviously everybody dies, but he could have still died if he had a coven with his mom. But there's always a chance that maybe he wouldn't have, and we'll never know. And Agatha will never know.
I think it's sort of an ironic twist of the knife, right?
Yeah.
That like she needed a coven and for the thing that mattered most to her. And because she was so bent on being a covenless witch, it stung her in the ass. I think another thing that like is worth bringing up that I see a lot of confusion about is sort of Agatha's psychology with like continuing to drain witches, and why like even after Nikki died, And I think a lot of Agatha comes down to the way that her mother treated her when she was a child. Because her mother was like, oh, Agatha is a bad seed. We have to get rid of her. She is only capable of evil. And her whole life, everyone that Agatha sort of sought sort of like any sort of validation from was like, no, you're an evil person. And the two people that we see sort of break that is Nikki, who says, hey, Mom, you can be good. And Billy, who says, you're not as bad as people say you are. So I think after Nikki does die, I think what we're seeing is Agatha being like, all right, I'm going to lean into the only thing I know, my survival instincts, which are eat or be eaten. And I think there's also sort of like she wants to live as long as possible so that she doesn't have to like face Nikki.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which is a big thing in the actual climax of the series. But I think that is why that happens. And she's also an addict. She's addicted to power.
Oh yeah. It's all those things, really.
She's like, this feels so good. And it's like, girl.
Yeah, she just doesn't want to see Nikki in the afterlife and face him, feeling that she let him down. Even though, like, it wasn't really her fault that he died. He just died because he was sick.
Yeah, people get sick, homie. Oh, wait, really quick. Not to toot my own horn. Toot, toot. But I called that one. I thought that Nikki just was going to die of like a normal ass fucking illness because it was the olden days and they didn't have penicillin back then. So like, God damn, this is why we all need to get vaccinated. Everybody get your flu shots. Everybody get your COVID vaccines this year. If you don't want to end up dead under a tree with Aubrey Plaza leading you away into the dark, go get vaxxed, people.
I think you're making a good argument to not get vaccinated.
I know. Okay, fuck. Sorry. That is a bad argument. If you don't want to die, just regular die. No Aubrey Plaza's there. Thanos shows up instead. He gets you instead. He's like, but I'm waiting for Aubrey to show up just like you. And then Aubrey doesn't come. And then he has to take you to the Soulstone Cliff and throw you over. Get vaccinated or that'll happen.
I wonder if there were like any time traveling witches. Because like, man, if there was, like, they could just like hop into the future, go to a CVS, like go to be like, hey, can I get some fucking tuberculosis fucking medication, please, to save this child in the past?
Oh, fuck. That would be a good idea. Let's get Doc Brown and Marty McFly to bring Agatha. Yeah, let's get them into witchcraft. Let's get Doc Brown into witchcraft.
We see the death of Nikki and she goes crazy and basically just starts using that song to trick other witches into, let's go find the witch's road. And then she actually just sucks their energy once they get mad at her and shoot at her, which is what she attempted to do at the end of episode 2, but it didn't work because of the actual road manifested because Billy is a super powerful wizard. You know, in the comics, he ends up becoming this being called the Demiurge, who is destined to basically rewrite the laws of reality and sort of like, you know, set the laws of the next universe, which is like huge in terms of like cosmic impact. I guess Agatha's back for her brooch because Billy took it when she died and she just wants her brooch with her in the afterlife. But Billy's like, nah, I'm going to banish you. So he goes back to Agatha's basement and like tries to banish Agatha from this plane of existence. But Agatha's like, no, I don't want to see my son because he's going to be real cross with me or something. I guess they decide to like team up now. Like they're like, hey, let's just be a coven of two. And like, I'm just going to be with you on the side while you go on your Young Avengers adventures. Do you think anybody else can see her other than...
Yeah, I wonder if other people can see her. Because obviously in the comics, like Wanda talks to her all the time when she's in her little ghost form. But like, do you have to be a Maximoff? Is that going to be like a thing in the MCU where like only the Maximoff / Vision family can see Agatha? I think that'd be fun.
I mean, we saw all the other witches see Evanora Harkness in the third trial, was it?
Yeah.
I think it's up to the witch.
Right.
I think it's up to the ghost.
It's up to, that makes sense. Yeah. I do just want to say, Agatha, you are a fucking weirdo because as soon as I die, the first thing I'm going to want to do is see Pugsley. That just sounds like a you problem, lady. Go see your kid. What is your deal? Your son was he was 6 years old. Of course he's going to forgive you. He's just going to be like, Mom, I haven't seen you since 1750. How are you? Like, come on, go see your kid. I don't get that. I would never. The second I die.
I feel like she's secretly scared to die because she's afraid to see Sparky on the afterlife. Because Sparky has
she's so scared of Sparky's revenge.
Spikey's gonna bite her ass so hard.
Do we think the next time we're gonna see Ralph Boner is him seeing Agatha's ghost and flipping out?
Oh, that would have been a fun post-credit scene.
So funny. He would have lost his shit, bro. I would love to see the gradual like degradation of Ralph Boner. Like
as he descends further into madness. MT is just wishing hell upon Ralph Boner for some reason. What did Ralph Boner ever do to you?
I really liked his characterization this season of like, him being like the super paranoid.
Ralph Boner, the conspiracy theorist, is great.
Also like that he's like a punching bag for the audience because the audience was so upset that he wasn't Quicksilver that like you just like keep beating up the character of Ralph Boner because everyone's just as an audience member hates him. I think that's really funny. So a few things, right? I think the big question is, how do we feel with Billy sort of coming to terms with the deaths that he's caused? Because I feel like this is going to be another internet argument that we're going to see until the next installment of these characters. Same thing that happened with Wanda, where it's just like, well, yeah, he was a murderer. He killed all these people with his powers. I know they kind of like gloss over it where it's like, oh, you saved Jen. But like, he played a role in like putting together that coven. Going down the witch's road was his idea, not Agatha's idea.
And he made the escape room. Yeah. Everything was him. So like, so he just got these women. He like blackmailed some of these women to going on the road with him. And then he made all of it. And then he killed them. And then at the end, he's like, oh, no. Oh, fuck. Did I kill those people? Welp, no time to think about it. Got to do it again and find my twin brother a body. So I do think that people are going to have that like issue with him. Fuck that. I support Wanda's wrongs and I will support Wiccan's wrongs. I support both of their wrongs 100%.
I think there's an interesting thing to be said that this is like motivation for him to like continue to be the hero that he needs to be. In the same sort of way that like Wanda had her history of like, man, I did some things for Hydra and now I need to make good essentially. So I'm interested in seeing how it develops. But yeah, I'm like, he's got blood on his hands and I don't think the episode did enough for me to be like, and that's fine.
And it's okay. He's ready to be a hero.
It was an accident. He's just a baby. He doesn't know any better. He's just a little baby. Don't be mad at him.
Like, I feel like this could also be Marvel Studios planting the seeds for Kingpin, planting xenophobic fear in people. It's like, oh no, superpowered people, whether they be like Skrulls or whether they be like heroes or whether they be magicians, they're all dangerous. So like, you have to trust me to protect you from all of these enhanced individuals. So like, that's why he passes the whatever act, the Powers Act that he passes in the comics that like, it seems like he's probably going to end up passing in a Daredevil Born Again. And so like, that could end up giving people like Val more authority to like round up like all sorts of like powered individuals, like no matter who they are. Like, so like I could see like Val going after Doctor Strange and all them in at their sanctum and be like, yo, you guys are not sanctioned to do all this magic because like you guys are basically like terrorists, so we're gonna arrest you.
So basically Civil War.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, give us another Civil War. Come on. It's like, been long enough between now and the last Civil War. Let's just do another one.
Now that Steve Rogers is dead, the government is getting bolder in terms of doing things that they wanted to do that Steve Rogers stopped them from doing. And so, now that this, he's gone, it's like, all right, now we can do the Sokovia Accords again, but call it something else because people are not going to be on board with the Sokovia Accords. And it's just like a power grab by, likely Hydra, like hiding and trying to regrow.
You think Hydra's going to come back again?
Oh, absolutely, bro. Yeah. Like, that's what they do. It's their whole
That is what they do. That is what they do.
If you cut off their heads, it'll just grow
exactly.
back. You can't kill Hydra.
Listen, I'm a S.H.I.E.L.D. baby, though. I've watched S.H.I.E.L.D. and they did so much work to make sure that there was no more Hydra.
Okay, but what about Zola and the computer? He needs to come back as Smarter Child on AIM. I think that Zola needs to come the fuck back in a more updated computer this time. This time a computer from 2001 specifically, a desktop.
One of those Apple computers with like the Game Boy see-through.
Yeah, and the see-through, like one of the see-through old Macs.
I remember those. I had one of those in my classroom when growing up. That's so funny. I definitely feel like the Damage Control and Sword are the two new heads of Hydra that sprung from Shield. Val is probably like very much involved with that. Because she was in the comics, like as she was like some sort of head of Hydra. We see her gaining more influence in the MCU now that she's like the head of the CIA. As of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. If Speed gets like, put into prison, that'll probably like follow that like let's arrest anybody with powers sort of like narrative thread that like Kingpin seems to be campaigning under, as he's like basically a Donald Trump parody of man. They're very clear with it. They're not really like hiding it, which is very funny. Final thoughts. Like, what do you guys think of the series?
I loved it. I will give it a 10. I thought it was just as good as WandaVision. I really, really, really love this series. I loved all of the characters. I fucking loved how gay it was. I want more makeouts like Rio's and Agatha's and like Wiccan's and his cool boyfriend. I thought that was just a really great step for Marvel to finally take. And I just loved it. I thought that the emotions were really beautiful. I thought that everything that it said about womanhood and being a woman and what that looks like for different types of women, young and old, was very interesting. And I want to see more of these characters, man. I want Agatha Harkness back. Let's get her back. How about you guys?
Yeah, I would probably give it a 9. I think it's right up there with WandaVision for me. I think WandaVision's my favorite thing that the MCU has ever done, really. But that's because I'm such a sitcom simp. But what I loved about Agatha All Along was I think it did a great job of, one, taking a sort of like a spin-off character and making a series that people actually cared about. I know people were ragging on it, being like, who cares about all these middle-aged women going on an adventure? I'm not going to tune in.
Me!
Turns out it's actually really, really, really good. And I think what's cool about what the series did was it also kind of like paved the way to like shoot off a Wiccan story, and it shot off a Jennifer Kale story potentially down the line. And I think it was a really good springboard, which is what all Marvel properties end up being, because you got to keep the franchise alive. But it was a really good springboard, but it also was self-contained and it worked on its own. And at the end of the day, that's what you really want from these projects. You don't just want like something adapted from the comics just to say it was adapted, because that's what happens in the comics. You want it to actually be a piece of media that you can actually tangibly deal with, and it says something. And this in WandaVision said something. And now it is able to like say, hey, we're going to tell more stories. These characters you fell in love with, and they will go on to live in this universe. And hopefully I want Jack Schaefer to pick up these characters again, because I think she is doing a fantastic job. I really want her to have a Scarlet Witch movie. I want her to do the Children's Crusade is what I really want.
Yeah.
But yeah, fantastic. It was television, and I love television when it's actually television and not just an ad for the next TV show.
No, like I'm definitely with Brett. I would probably give this like a 9.5. It's just like, it's a huge breath of fresh air. And like, to add on to, basically what Brett sort of brought up earlier, I like when superhero shows like give us non-conventional heroes, like Lilia Calderu. You're never going to see like an older woman. It's very rare that you see an older woman hero. And like, I love when like, we like comic book media, like sort of like, all right, gives us like things that we would never see before. And so like, Lilia Calderu, Alice, like, it just felt like a breath of fresh air to see like different types of characters and different people represented in the MCU that way. And obviously, of course, with Wiccan and like his boyfriend, and like seeing like, like their relationship being presented in like just in a regular way. It's like, I love this person. Like, it just felt just natural. And it's like, yeah, like this is just life, man. Like, it's, who gives a fuck? Like,
gay people just exist. Who knew? You can just be chilling in a car with your boyfriend and have to confess that you're actually the son of the Scarlet Witch. That happens. That's a normal boyfriend kind of thing. And I want to see more of that normalized. Normalize telling your boyfriend you're a witch in the backseat of a car.
This whole series just was like it was intriguing. It was a mystery. And like all of the mystery sort of like very much was satisfying, like, learning like, the real answers to everything. Yeah, like it just felt like a very, like Brett said, a self-contained MCU project that also effectively moved the narrative of the overall franchise forward by introducing new characters rather than relying on cameos from like old characters that we already love. And like it was just a success all around, and like literally one of the best shows that Marvel has ever made. Like having this and Loki in the same year just feels like a treat. It's like, holy shit,
such
like
a
I can't
fucking
believe
treat, dude.
we were spoiled this year with such amazing shows.
I think that my ranking is like WandaVision, then Agatha, then Loki season 1, then Loki season 2, then Hawkeye. I think are like my top 5.
Honestly, like Marvel Studios, even at their like, worst when it comes to like basically Secret Invasion, I really do love everything that they put out, regardless of like.
I know they've all of these shows have been super fun, and like, for sure.
I know it's gonna make me sound like a Marvel show, blah blah blah, but like that's literally how I actually honestly feel. Like even at their worst, Marvel Studios does put out decent products, even though like they don't end really fantastically. You still have a good time watching. You still like ask questions, and it's very engaging, and like it helps. Like it's very easy for people around the internet to just like come around the Marvel fire and just be like, oh man, what's going on? Like what's like just be engaged with the product, even though like, it may end kind of shittily like Secret Invasion, but like at the end of the day, it's all fine. I don't know. It's been really great to be in this Disney Plus era of Marvel. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. I thought it was a great show. I want more of it. Jack Schaefer, get a movie, please.
Give Jack Schaefer another show, another movie. Give her everything in the world because she deserves it.
Yes.
But speaking of superhero movies or TV shows, even if they're kind of bad, allow me to recommend a video for you guys. It's called Venom: The Last Dance.
Yes.
Ever heard of it? It's a beautiful, beautiful video that we released last week. It looks like not a lot of people have watched it. We don't know if that's because you haven't seen Venom or if you hate us. Please don't hate us. Go watch it. It's very funny. I actually have it on good authority from a person who did not even watch Venom, who watched the episode and said it was still funny to watch, even if you haven't seen Venom. So please go watch it. We'd love you forever.
It is a spoiler review, though, so.
It's very spoilerful.
I think it's one of the funniest things we've done on this channel so far.
Yeah, so it's very fun review.
It's pretty good.
Even if you have no plans to watch Venom 3, just stop by and watch the video and let us know what you guys think. And hey, in the future, we're going to be talking about the new hit HBO series, The Penguin. So stick around for that. Make sure you have the notifications on for this channel so you guys don't miss a single upload that we upload, because we really want you guys to stop on by and hang out with us because you guys are amazing.
Yeah.
But yes.
And if you guys want to support Guardians of the Palaxy, check out guardiansofthepalaxy.store and our nice teas. We got some cool teas.
We have so many cool teas.
A goddess of art.
Yes.
So like shout out to Painter Menti.
We are
a goddess among mere mortals. We are not worthy. She is so cool and so good. Go get Palaxy stuff, especially sweatshirts, bro. I have a Palaxy sweatshirt. It is warm and cozy as hell as we head on into chilly season, chilly weather out there. Let your pals keep you warm. Let the love of your pals keep you warm and toasty and snug. Go get a sweatshirt. Go get a mug to drink your hot chocolate out of. Leave us a comment about what you thought about Agatha. Did you have any questions? Were there any things that we didn't answer in this video that we can address for you later? Go watch Venom. Go do all. So you have so much homework. Go watch The Penguin. We love you guys.
Yes, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys for watching this video, and we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.